Welcome on to Fiore Calls Game, everyone. I am Andrew Fiore. I am here with my co-hosts Brandon the Con Man Con and Kyle the Realist Real. Feels like it's been forever since we had both of you on at the same time, but we've got a huge guest here today. The former Rhode Island Rams quarterback Kasim Hill, a legend around these parts. Kasim, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. Good to see everybody again.
Of course, yeah. We're thrilled to have you here. You were a mainstay playing 3 or 4 seasons for the Rhody Rams, taking them up to heights they hadn't been to in 20 years. And it was a thrill to watch you play. And we're glad to have you back in the Rhody area, coming around and seeing games. You still follow the team?
Oh yeah, 100%. They need to go and get another ring this year.
Absolutely. Well, we were just talking about how Kyle here, who works for the Rhody Rams, has a ring somehow. If you were to ask if anybody here had a CAA ring, we'd think it'd be Kasim, but it's somehow Kyle.
That is really funny when you put it like that. I didn't even.
That's
I
wild.
mean, I don't even like. I've looked at it like a couple times because I've just been working with the team and like I haven't been back home in Worcester where it is, so I just haven't gotten the chance to really look at it.
No, it's something that's awesome for this team, but I really don't think they would have gotten there without you and that team from 2021 on that just built the program up. And how was that for you coming into a program that didn't have a ton of success recently and watching it unfold into this CAA champion?
I think it's been cool to see the progress of the program. When I first got there, we were in the, beginning stages with guys like, Ed Lee and Henry Yanakopoulos, Jake Fire, Joe Kenny, like a whole bunch, Andre Peeble, a whole bunch of guys just like building the culture of the program we wanted to set moving forward. And although we wanted to see rings for ourselves in that time, it's cool to see what we've built and how it's grown over time, and hopefully keeps growing.
Yeah, you guys, your fingerprints are all over this current team, and last year's team everywhere. Like even you said, Henry Yanakopoulos, that's Coach Yanni now,
Mm.
defensive backs coach. Like a lot of these guys have either gone to work on staff or have seen multiple of players from your classes basically build this thing up into what it is now, and eyes are on the program that's sold out every single game, home game basically, and there's a lot of excitement for the team, and it all stems from you guys basically laying the foundation. So.
We appreciate that.
Of course, of course. But Rhody wasn't your first home, actually, for our viewers. Kasim spent 2 seasons at Maryland, one at Tennessee before coming to Rhody. And your time at Maryland must have been crazy. Your first game, if I remember this correctly, was at ranked Texas.
Yes, it was. It was at ranked Texas. It was Tom Herman's first game as head coach at Texas. And yeah, it was a crazy environment to go into first.
So, as a kid, basically fresh out of high school, to
Mhm.
step into that environment, how do you stay composed in that situation?
Uh, Honestly, well, when I first got the chance to play, because I didn't start the game, the starter got hurt. We had been competing in camp. The other kid started. He got hurt in the game, and like obviously I was sad for his injury, but I was just so excited to play football again that I kind of just wasn't paying attention to all the surroundings around me. And once you get out on the field, everything feels normal again. All the crowd noise goes away, and just go play ball.
If I remember correctly, you guys won the game.
Yeah, 51-41.
What was the reception there after the game? This quarterback comes in filling in for the injured starter and gets a ranked win on the road. That must have been unreal.
Yeah, it was. I remember it was, well, for me, it was kind of crazy. It was the only game that my parents couldn't go to because there had been a hurricane in Texas that week and a whole bunch of flights got canceled. So I remember like just running to the locker room to call them and just being excited with them on the phone. And then my phone was blowing up like crazy on Twitter and Instagram and people texting me. And then it was just cool to celebrate with the team and like you feel like you have the respect of the older guys, but until you do it in a game, like you don't really develop that full respect. So that was what stood out to me the most. Like all the seniors coming, and like congratulating me and celebrating with them.
One of those Maryland teammates went on to some big fame. DJ Moore, one of the
Yeah,
leading wide receivers in the NFL. You used to throw touchdown passes to him. What was that connection like?
that was awesome. It was just like just put it anywhere near him, get him the ball in his hands, and it'll make you look good. So he called my first college touchdown. He caught a lot of my first college passes. So that made things a lot easier as a true freshman, I can say.
What was he like off the field as a teammate?
He was a good dude. He hosted me when I took my visits to Maryland. So we developed a like relationship then. But he's a real quiet dude, like about his business. You wouldn't even think he's like the status of who he is. Just about his business. Him and his whole friend group, like Darnell Savage, Ty Johnson, like all those kind of guys, just about their business and quiet into themselves. But a good dude.
Beyond just like the stuff that you would see on the field with a player like DJ, is there anything like, in the locker room or preparation wise where you're just like seeing a guy like that and you're like, yeah, this guy is going to be built for like he could play in the pros?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one story. Like when I first got to college, they made me work out with like that same group. It was DJ Moore, Darnell Savage, who plays safety for the Jaguars, Ty Johnson, who plays running back for the Bills, like in me. So as a true freshman, that's what I came into. Like that was my group for the summer, and just watching how those guys worked and like anything crazy that they threw at us, which I felt like everything was crazy as a true freshman with all the running and lifting and all that stuff. It was just like they would just brush it off their shoulders, just about their work, about their business. And then each week, just being so diligent and how they prepared really taught me how to prepare. Especially because we had a bunch of young guys in the QB room. So like I looked for a lot of direction from like other position groups for how to get ready for college games. It would be we'd get out of practice and get done eating at like 8 o'clock. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna go back to the room. But those guys are going to their meeting rooms to meet with coaches again after practice, and that's how I learned how to do all that stuff.
Kasim, this might be a silly question, but how much pressure did you feel being grouped in with those guys? Obviously, at the time, you didn't know the exact status that they would reach, but
Yeah.
seeing how skillful and just how different they played the game than everybody else on that team, how much pressure was there on your shoulders to keep up?
I would say the first couple weeks I was terrified out of my mind because only me and one other freshman, like most of the freshmen didn't come till June. I actually went, like I was done with high school in May, like classes and stuff, but our graduation wasn't until June, but I moved into Maryland early. So it was only me and one other freshman that moved in early. So I was terrified at first. It was like, all right, you got to keep up with these dudes, everything that they do. And, but I feel like it shaped like my work ethic and how to carry myself like those guys. But yeah, I was terrified at first.
So playing in the Big Ten,
Hmm.
one of the Power Five conferences, you come onto the scene, beat Texas. Did that kind of lower the pressure playing in such a big conference? Was it easier getting thrown into the fire against Texas?
I would say so because like you got the first like, well, I got my first college hit out the way. I got my first like couple college mistakes out the way. And then it was like, okay, now we can just go play ball. You've seen some of the best, and everything from here is going to be either on the same level or a little bit less. So I definitely feel like it was a good transition in.
What was the atmosphere like at those Maryland games?
I would say for the big games, they were pretty good. It's hard to explain. I don't know. It's not like super loud, but like it gets loud in there. If I don't know how to explain it.
So we're talking stadium pulse right in the middle.
Yeah, like right in the middle. Your screen won't be shaking.
So I have a question. I know obviously you transferred to Tennessee and then obviously found your home in Rhode Island. Like, what is
Yeah.
that process like of trying to find a place where you're like, I'm comfortable here. I would like to, stay here for a while. You see,
Uh,
you can see yourself being at a place for a bit.
I think the biggest thing for me was trying to find like a sense of community, um, especially when I was coming to Rhode Island, and like you're looking for people that care about you off the field. Like I had my own, obviously at Maryland, had two injuries, lost a friend. Like, so when I was moving on, looking for different places, you're trying to find a place that cares about you off the field just as much as they care about you on the field. Like, if I go out there and have a game where I throw for 30 yards and no touchdowns and we lose by 40, am I going to come back into the building and be hated? Obviously, we're not going to be happy, but I don't want to be hated and like all that kind of stuff. And I think, especially when I got to Rhodey, like you feel that sense of community from everybody. Everybody always talks about everybody in Rhode Island knows each other, but like you can feel that closeness like in the community and stuff when you're off the field.
I'd say even just as a member of the staff, I feel that way. You know what I mean? This is
Yeah.
my third year there, and it feels like family. You know what I mean? Every time I see
Mhm.
a lot of the same faces in the hallways and stuff, it is like something for me that gives me like that sense of community beyond the fact that I'm, just graduated and I've met a bunch of people there,
Right.
anyways. But it has brought me like a lot of happiness, and it's a great thing to be a part of. Like
Yeah.
you don't. It's hard to explain, but you did it
You know
perfectly.
it when you feel it. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Andrew, you would know that too because you were a part of it as well. Even just
Mhm.
as like being a student intern, like I am made to feel like, I'm not an intern anymore, but like even then I was made to feel as like important, like, what I mean? You never were treated disrespectfully. It was
Right.
a great experience and still is.
Right.
Yeah, a story that comes to mind for me that really speaks to your character, Kasim, is well, I worked for 3 years, traveled with you guys, but I would kind of stay out of the way from the players. I didn't want to like bother anyone, you know. Um, but I'd have the occasional conversation, but then the first game last year, you were on the sidelines. I was on the sidelines at the same time, and I hadn't been working for them anymore. You weren't the quarterback anymore, but you came up and dapped me up. I was like, you know who I am? Honestly, in my head, I was like, I had no idea. I'm like, the starting quarterback knew who I was. I was just a filmer. So that really
Oh,
shows the care you
yeah.
guys have for everyone on the team.
Me and Ed Lee, I FaceTimed Ed before this, and we were just talking about you. We know who you are.
Ed knows who I am.
Yeah.
That's news to me. That's what my mentality was. I'm just a staffer. I'm gonna go in and do my job, and I'm assuming I knew a few like Rocco Salino, who, by the way,
Yeah.
like he's knitted into this Westerly community here.
Yeah.
Rocco's even his place of work is one of the sponsors of this streaming service here. But yeah, that really means a lot to everyone who tries to make the team operate well,
Mhm.
from the furthest down level. You guys show care, and like Kyle said, it becomes a family.
It is a family.
One of those oh, Kyle, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I would assume you do, but like, who are some of your closest relationships with players who are still on the team currently?
Still on the team right now. Let me think about who's on the team. Well, Dev, of course. Me and Dev, we got off to, you know how it is. Like we're in the same room. I'm the starter. He wants my job, but we're also like trying to find ways where I can help him like for the future. But Dev, I've talked to him before almost every single game last year that he was playing at least. And then we trained together back in Atlanta, and we lived together my last year. So Dev for sure. Keith. Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, Amari. Amari is one of the funniest people that I've ever met in my life. He was my last year, his locker was pretty much across from me, and every single day it was something new with him. I'm trying to think who else. Uh, oh, new person on the team who I didn't play with at Rhode Island, but went to my high school. Antoine Littleton, running back. I've known him since he was in sixth grade. Um, is that everybody? Oh, then you got people like IHOP or Trey, Brock. Can't forget about Brock. Lived with him too. That might be everybody. I don't want to forget people, but
No, of course. Didn't mean that. I'm
yeah,
sure nobody. Yeah, but
yeah,
it's pretty cool because I'd say like the leadership abilities that you had at quarterback definitely passed down. And I'm sure that yeah, like you said, you're both competing for the same thing. Obviously, you're the
mm,
starter, you won your job, but like I will say, he's done a great job handling the reins. Like he's one of those guys who goes out of his way to make sure he knows your name and like daps you
yeah,
up every day. He's a great dude, like genuinely a great leader for the team. Like it's cool to see all those guys who got named captain. You're like, yeah, they all
yeah. I'm
totally
happy for
deserving of
them.
it.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you, besides Ed Lee, who you just mentioned, I still can't believe former Mac Jones target Ed Lee knows who I am. But how many of those guys that you played with over your years here do you keep in touch with?
Oh, I mean, all the guys I lived with, like
Yeah.
Sebi, Brady, Lorenzo Thompson, Nick Correa, um, Evan Stewart, uh, Ed, of course, Katero Summers,
Oh, I forgot about him.
Jada
He was a dog.
McKenzie. Well, I'm trying to make sure I don't forget people here. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of people. We like, you know how it is, pat in passing, whether it's on like Instagram or stuff. But
Yeah.
me and the first people, I talk to Ed every single day, literally every single day, and then everybody else we're in group chats and stuff like that. But a lot of us still keep up, try and get out the games at the same time.
You two trying to get Kasim in trouble, making him thinking he's gonna forget somebody.
Nah, I didn't even realize that. Chrissy, what would you say is your favorite like game or memory as a roadie
Hmm.
Ram?
Oh, first game, without a doubt.
Oh,
Well,
the Bryant? No,
no,
wait, no, you
the
played in 2020. That's right.
spring season, first game at Villanova when we won in overtime. That because it was like all of our first time playing together, and like we were down 10 with 5 minutes left at Villanova, and they were number 6 in the country. Came back and won in overtime, and it was all of our first times playing together. So you know how it is. Like you want to see how everybody plays on the field. It was COVID, so it was already weird, and yeah, that was a fun bus ride back.
This might be a little
Uh,
bit of a over exaggeration, but do you think that that game that spring was one of the most important turning points for the program as a whole for the next 5 years?
I think it was because well the year before, like I think they went 4-8 or something like that, and then the first two wins we had were against ranked teams and like pretty like notable teams, Villanova and Albany, even though Delaware smacked us in the third game. But that game doesn't count in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, oh, we can actually like go and do something in the coming fall and the next couple of falls. And it lit a fire in the team, I feel like. And then, we just kept adding to it from there.
Some other big games over the last like 5 years for that program included matchups with big FBS schools like
Mhm.
Pitt, and then you had
Yeah.
matchups with UMass and Georgia State. And Rhodey always kept it close in all of the games while I was there with the bigger opponents. Do you
Yeah.
think your experiences at Maryland and Tennessee played a role in that?
I think for me personally, yeah, because, well, I know the UMass game was super personal.
Looks like we lost Kasim for a second there. Bear with us,
And he
folks.
was cooking too.
He
He was
was.
going
I
to
would.
get into the UMass game.
When I heard it got personal with UMass, oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, man.
Because there he is.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, somebody called me.
Oh, no worries, man.
There we go. Wait, can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see myself, but that's okay. Good thing that wasn't live right there.
We are pre-recording this, but stuff happens. But yeah, Kasim, you were starting to tell us about UMass getting personal.
Oh, yeah. So UMass was personal for me because their head coach at the time was my OC my first year at Maryland. So I really wanted that one. So that whole week, I just kept telling everybody that whole week, like, we have to win this one. I don't care about anything else. We're on a 3-game losing streak. I don't care. We have to go win this one. And then Pitt and stuff like that, like, we just came out the gates ready for those games. And Georgia State, feel like we got cheated at the end.
That
Definitely.
game still makes me mad.
Yeah. That we would have won that game. Drives me crazy. But yeah, I feel like everybody just felt like we could win those games. And the experience was cool to play against bigger teams, but like we feel like we were the better team going into those games.
For our viewers at home, the Georgia State game was a one possession game in the final 2 minutes, and Georgia State went for it on 4th down and visibly came up short, but they were awarded the 1st down, meaning Rhode Island couldn't have the ball back. I was up in the 400 levels straight down the line. I can't remember if it was like the 30 or the 20, but I was directly down the line. That was the 1st down, and I could see grass between the ball and the chain when they went to go check it. So that one still haunts all of us here. But games like that and games like the infamous UNH one, which I don't even think I could describe to our viewers with how evil and terrible it was. How do you take situations that are out of your control and move on to the next game? How do you adapt with that, knowing that, things didn't go your way in a frustrating sense where like the team could have and should have won? How do you cope with that as an athlete? Because I think that's advice all of us in our daily lives could learn from.
Yeah, I think for me personally, like, yeah, those 2 plays, we feel like it should have gone the other way, but I'm very much like I try and take the onus on myself. The UNH game, we were tied 21-21, and I had a fumble that they picked up and got a field goal off of. And then Georgia State, I had 2 picks. One was a pick six. It's like a lot of those plays that you feel like when you have a chance at the end or something could go different at the end, I feel like you just got to go back and take accountability for your part in it. And whatever it is, learn from that mistake and then, push forward from there. Because as much as we hate to say it, it is what it is at that point. I mean, refs are always going to be refs. They're going to mess something up or you're going to disagree with something. So just taking accountability for whatever your part is and learning from it and growing from it.
I think that's great advice for anybody at any level of anything. Another memory that comes up from your time was the Patriots plane when Robert Kraft lent the team the Patriots private jet. What was that like for you?
That was crazy. That was the first time I ever flew on a plane with like 3 sections or whatever it's called.
Yeah, me
And I was
too.
like, that was crazy. I was like, and then they came out with like a special menu and stuff. I was like, they're feeding us on here? I was like, we're not getting food on. First, we didn't get food on the bus. So like all of our attendants were up. And I lived with Jake Fire, whose dad was a coach for the Patriots. And he was telling us all week, like, oh, something's up, something's up, something's up. So I'm just thinking like we're gonna take a normal plane. And then we pull up and see the Patriots. I'm like, what is going on here? But yeah, that was crazy.
I think like your seat was Tom Brady's seat for years. Must have been insane because they
Really?
arranged it so everyone sat according to their position. So you were sitting in Tom Brady's seat on the plane.
I didn't even know that. I would have took way more pictures in there if I knew that.
That's what they told us. They're like, all right, you're sitting where their filmers sit. Flem is
That's
gonna sit where Belichick sits.
that
Unreal
was a
stuff.
crazy experience. Yeah.
But there was a 3-game losing streak after that, which I know for some guys they're like never doing that
Yeah,
again.
never again. And it rained every single game after that.
I think that had a huge factor on the season. I think that season would
Yeah.
have gone way differently if it weren't for the
So
rain.
so do I.
Well, we were talking before we started coming on the air here about the following season, 2022, which I
Hmm.
think was the best team that I saw over my 3 years there. What
Yeah.
was that group like for you? You had Jordan Jones playing
Yeah.
ridiculous corner, and then just everyone. The unit on defense with Fire and Yanni, and then you had
Yeah.
Katero and Ed at their peaks. That team, do you think that was a special team among the ones you played for?
Oh yeah, 100%. I definitely think that was the best team, and I think that was the closest team we had. Like the most stuff, like I remember the games and stuff, obviously, but what I remember the most about that group is like the locker room conversations. We were together all the time. Like during camp, Dylan Brown, who played nose guard, and Lorenzo Thompson, who played tackle and was on the Browns and stuff now. They would have WWE matches in between camp practices. Literally, they would reenact WWE, and the whole team would be in there like they were in the Ryan Center. And like we were just such a close knit group, and really feel like that team could have went far with a couple different outcomes against William and Mary and UNH. But yeah, that was definitely the best team, I think.
I'm getting major FOMO right now. I'm the biggest wrestling fan. Watching football players beat the crap out of each other for fun, that would have been
Oh, it was
the
a good
highlight of
time.
my academic year.
Chairs and everything.
That's
Wild.
insane.
Yeah.
Big guys like that can just take steel right to the back, I'm sure.
We were all going crazy in there for it too.
Such a variety of personalities too, because you had that going on, and then like Christian would be singing at practice. And
There was a wide group of personalities on that team. You go from those two, Chris, then you got like Wes and AJ, then you have like Kitero, Ed, just a whole bunch of different personalities, and everybody got along, which is crazy.
How do you think so many different personalities, like wide-ranging personalities, especially meshed so well, and you guys really became one mind for that season?
I think, first it starts with having a common goal. Like, obviously, we want to win the CAA, we want to make the playoffs. And then, like, once you spend so much time around people, like, you're going to find something to connect with whoever you meet. Like, if you spend enough time with people, you're going to find something to connect with them. Like, there's going to be some common ground. And literally all summer, the whole team was up there. That was probably the only times the whole team was there for the whole summer. And like we would have, what are those things called? Like the Orby Wars, like the splat gun things with the little water pellets in it.
yeah.
We did that the whole summer. We all played, Flem's gonna hate to hear it, but we played basketball together the whole summer. And like we were just all outside together instead of being in the room and playing the game. Like we were just around each other all the time. And then you just build relationships from there.
How do you feel seeing so many of those guys reaching high levels, like Jordan Colbert with the
Yeah.
Dolphins, and then Lorenzo with the Browns? You must be really proud.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely happy for those guys. Like, because you see I've known Jordan since he's another DMV guy, so I've known him since seventh, eighth grade, something like that. We used to train at the same place in high school, so however long ago, over a decade it feels like. But yeah, you just see the work that people put in over time, and then how much everybody wants to reach that dream. So you just feel super excited when those guys get to those places and continue to stay in those places. So definitely happy for them.
Another dude, he was one of my favorite players to watch, and it's Jordan Jones, who I mentioned before.
Yeah.
He was unreal in 2022. I remember telling the filmer for Stony Brook that first day, I was like, see that guy, 23? He's getting a pick instantly. He was like, really? I'm like, he's getting a pick. He had 2 in the first half that game.
Yeah, and a pick six.
Yes, you're right. How was it for you knowing you had that defense on the other side, that whole unit?
Yeah.
Did it make you feel more confident and comfortable, take the pressure off?
Oh yeah, it definitely made you feel more comfortable. It made you feel like you could take a little bit more risk because they'll back it up. And as a quarterback, that's a great feeling. And then like all those guys just competed their butts off. Like and they were on one string. And, you just had a lot of confidence going into games, and whatever situations would pop up during the game, you just knew they would take care of it.
And then your last game ever, it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but you
Yeah.
got to play at Towson, your neck of the woods. How emotional were you playing with so many people that you know and care for right nearby?
It was pretty cool to end off that way. Obviously wanted it to go a different way, but that was where I played my first high school game, and kind of crazy that ended being my last college game. And then I was born in Delaware, grew up in the DMV, so I had all my family there, literally like 30 to 40 people, and then a whole bunch of my high school teammates were there, and it was a fun game to end off. Um, Wish it went differently, but a fun game to end off.
Your relationship with your family gained a lot of traction, especially with your sister. Could you tell our
Yep.
audience a bit about what you've done for your sister?
Oh yeah. So everybody doesn't know my sister has Down syndrome, and you know our relationship is super close bond. I always say that she's the most influential person in my life, still to this day. She's 19 years old now. She's down in Atlanta. She's working, but we call her the boss. So she's gonna speak her mind at the games. I could always hear her. She's the biggest sports fan that I know. With all the New York, we're all New York fans here. So the
Wow.
Knicks, the Yankees, the Giants, she knows everything, literally. Um, but yeah, she's the life and the party of the family, I would say. Like, and she speaks her mind. But she just taught me so much about how to be resilient and how to always be yourself, no matter what crowd you're in. And I think learning that as a younger kid, like it just stuck with me as I grew older. Doesn't really matter what people think about you, whatever your personality is, whatever you care about, just be you. And then the people that are supposed to be around you will find their way around you.
Truly inspirational stuff.
Mhm.
Giving back to the community was something important to you for sure. And I see Kyle's got a question.
No, yeah, I was just gonna shift gears because I'm like super big into the actual like football stuff. Like I love the nuances of the game, and especially to pick the mind of a quarterback who played at a high level for a while. What are some of those things that like the average fan or somebody who doesn't watch like all 22 tape like not understand about the quarterback position? Like when people are so quick to hate on a quarterback if they throw a pick or something, whatever the
Yeah.
fumble, whatever it is, but what are some things that you'd like to just be able to yell at a fan and be like, but you didn't see this, like you didn't see the safety was dropping, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff.
Yeah. We're we play about, depending on the offense you're in, you play 70 to 95 snaps a game usually. And before every single snap, you are before the snap, you have about 10 to 12 seconds to analyze what 11 people are about to do versus your 11 people. And then once the ball is snapped, you have about 2 seconds to make a decision on what you thought or how somebody is reacting to what you're about to do. So even though it's much faster on the field than in the stands. So even though it looks easy sometimes, or somebody might be wide open and we miss it, or we throw a pick that probably is stupid in hindsight, it's not as easy as you may think it is. It's always the little details that we see, and something goes awry when something bad happens.
And that's why it's the most difficult position to play in all of sports.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, Kyle, you can run wild with the technical questions. I think that'd be fascinating.
I don't even have. I mean, I just want. Yeah. So I got one more. How do you think it affects like younger quarterbacks, especially I would say maybe younger quarterbacks in the league or in college, if you
Mhm.
are transferring multiple times and having to switch offenses, or if a coaching change happens, how difficult do you think that is on a young player or a young quarterback to have to switch up the offense multiple times?
I think it's difficult from the fact that once you get into an offense and you're comfortable in the offense, like how do I put this? So like when you're playing, if you're trying to look at everything at once, you're never going to find what you're looking for. But as over time, as you get more comfortable, it dwindles down into, okay, I'm looking for these two things, or I'm looking for these three things. And it's easy for your brain to process two or three things than 10 things, especially in a quicker amount of time. So I think it's difficult from the sense of like your brain is trying to take in too much information and trying to be perfect on things. And now everybody is different about how they go about that process. But if you're trying to take in too many things, then it's hard to find success. But if you're focusing on a smaller amount of things, as you gain comfortability, it's easier to find success, to me at least.
You were someone who is very effective on your legs, and
Mhm.
that's something that's becoming more and more valuable. Does that add when you're putting into play the RPOs and having to decide whether you're going to bolt, hand it off, or throw? Does
Mhm.
that add another layer of processing? How much harder does that make it for quarterbacks to have to decide when to go and when to throw?
I think Honestly, I think it makes it a little bit easier because it gives the defense another layer to have to prepare for. And like defenders don't like to, as much as they try and act like they do, they don't like to be disciplined all the time. They like to be see ball, get ball, especially if there's a quarterback involved. They just want to hit you. Like it makes them have to be more defined and disciplined in what they're doing. And as soon as they're not disciplined, it's easier to exploit that mistake. And especially when you're given all the different options, I don't know what quarterback wants to, but I know I don't want to get hit. And when you have the different options, it's easier not to get hit. And it makes, undisciplined teams, it gives a lot of weak points for them.
I assume a guy who's able to execute RPOs is very much in favor of at least the coach to partially answer Andrew's question. But you talked about getting hit a lot, mobile quarterbacks. That's the biggest
Yeah.
concern, even with guys in the NFL. Lamar
Mhm.
Jackson, Anthony Richardson, who's now going to be the backup for the Colts because he got hit
Yeah.
early in his rookie season. So how do you, I guess, try to stay healthy, stay in shape, and maintain I guess a kind of good enough, I don't know how to put this, but you get where I'm going. How do you
Yeah.
kind of how
Keep
do you
yourself healthy
recover
week to
from
week.
big hits and
Yeah.
being such a mobile quarterback because it's dangerous.
I think well, they always teach you to slide or go out of bounds, but you don't really learn that until you understand the reasoning and you get hit for that first time. And it's like, oh, okay, these dudes aren't just trying to hit you, they're kind of trying to decapitate you. So once you go through that, slide or get out of bounds, and then over time you learn how to like get hit. If that makes sense. Like you learn not to fall back on your head or to not land on your right shoulder or like they teach you to try and split the man so you're not taking on the full force of somebody, you're just taking on half the force. Um, and then live in the training room. That used to be my favorite place in the whole building. The cold tub, the massages, just live in there and they'll take care of you.
Yeah, I interned for sports medicine this as a PR intern, of course, because I'm a sports media guy. But the amount of ways that you guys have to recover, and there's even more since you left. I assumed you guys would be in good hands.
Yeah.
They have a
So
great
that was kind of
like staff over there too. They're great guys.
yes,
The
phenomenal.
coaches, the strength and training guys, they're really good.
Oh yeah, the training guys are great. The trainers, the sports medicine staff, they're all great. They know what they're doing. I guess that was the second part of my question. How much training do you focus on? Anything specific, like while you're training outside of practice, to be able to absorb more hits or work on a technique so that you don't get hurt as much?
Yeah, I think, well, for me specifically, I was big into like ankle training and quad training because sprained my ankle a whole bunch of times. And then the knee history. So you need those quads and hamstrings and all that stuff to protect. So I used to be with Leach doing my own thing. Well, he would be giving me like exercises and stuff. And then besides that, just shoulder flexibility. Like if you're going to throw and somebody's pulling your arm back, you don't, if your shoulder's not flexible enough to deal with that, then your season could be over right there. But those three things mainly, the ankle strength, knee strength, or surrounding areas for knee strength, and then shoulder flexibility. Those used to be the three things that I worked on a lot outside of whatever workouts we were doing as a team.
Kasim, how important, obviously you're the quarterback, you want to throw the ball, you know what I mean? Of course, I'm sure you'd love for them to let you throw the ball 30 times a game, but how important is it for you to have a quarterback in general, or for you to have a good run game, like, to be able to lean on that in, the red zone or whatever it may be, if you need that 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3?
Oh, I think it's super important because I mean, over my time at Rhodey, especially, we had a great run game, and like you can see it in the defense's eyes, especially with people like Jaden McKenzie. Like, have fun tackling that the whole game. Like,
Yeah.
by the time we get to the fourth quarter, you can see the linebackers and D line. They don't want to deal with that anymore. They would rather me throw, which feels like a slight, but it's not. It's like, go ahead and have fun tackling 230 pounds for 4 quarters. And it just wears them down over time. And then it opens up everything for the offense. Play action, deep passes, like all that stuff comes from the run game and people trying to commit more to the box to stopping it.
The amount of times I would be watching a game and I'd see you go down or go on the sideline for a little bit and be like, our season's over. Our season's over. And then you're back in the same game just fine. Always amazed me with how fast you were able to come back from those little injuries.
Yeah. Always just a quick little argument with Andy, telling him I'm fine and to let me go.
Andy's my guy. Love Andy. Yeah, he's the man who hired me. I wanted to take a step back real quick. I wanted to know what it's like. I was at the spring game this year for Andy, doing some stuff for him, filming with the doctors and stuff. And I was wondering what it was like for you to go up against, the URI defense has produced some studs and still has some studs. I was wondering what it was like. Obviously they're not going full effort in a spring game, but some guys like Pena and Jones and those guys, what's it like being opposite of a defense? How much better do you think it makes you? How much better prepared are you going into the season because you have those guys to play against?
I think it was always fun, like, because you know how it is, especially in camp and stuff like that, when you're just going against each other for days on end. And then everybody starts talking a lot in the locker room and all that stuff. It just made for better competition. And then it definitely makes you better, like, day by day, because you're going against somebody else that's going to produce and be good. It's not like you're going against, for lack of a better term, a trash defense. Like, this is going to be a good defense in your conference and in the country. And they know we're going to be a good offense in the conference and in the country. So just, iron sharpens iron, and it just makes you better. Like, and it's just fun, like talking trash and competing. Like, it's always fun.
Those good on good team periods in training camp get intense, like
Yeah,
very quickly too. It'll be like a couple days into camp, and it's like, excuse me, sorry about that. You can tell guys are already starting to get antsy. They want to hit or whatever. You know what I mean? They're starting to get amped up, especially in that summer heat. You know what I mean? You got people coaches yelling at you. It's like,
dude.
They get really intense.
You would think we're not about to all go dance in the locker room and be making TikToks and joking around. Like, it makes no sense, but the competition, it brings the best out of you.
Something I've noticed from watching, this is my 3rd camp that I just got through. Something I've noticed a lot from watching, because, if you think about it, me being the film guy, I've watched thousands of plays ran by Rhode Island at this point, which is insane to think about. But I always notice that at the start of camp, at least, it always looks like the defense kind of gets their bearings and gets them, they look more, I guess they look better a lot of the times than the offense does early in camp. And I know a lot of that becomes offense is a difficult, it's difficult install. It can
Mhm.
become really difficult to learn. But have you noticed that too, that it kind of takes the offense a little while to kind of get
Oh yeah,
their flow in comparison to the defense when you're seeing them every day?
yeah. No offense to any defensive players out there, but like they can be in the wrong position and still make a play. Like as long as they're see ball, get ball, and not letting the ball go over their head, like they can just go make the play. Offense is a lot of timing and everybody being on the same page. Like if a receiver is wide open, but the left tackle blows his block, doesn't even matter that the receiver is wide open. So a lot of the timing and just making sure everybody's on the same page, and then once it clicks, it clicks.
Yeah, Kasim, I'm
Yeah,
not like super aware of your tendencies. Do you think that first part of this question, do you think that you were a guy that watched film a lot?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was really bad, honestly. Like, yeah, a lot of film.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you never
Yeah,
prepare too much, right?
I had besides the coaches, I had the most on. We were using DV Sport at the time, but yeah,
Wow. Kyle just shaking his head.
Don't
I
That's
I
bring that
a
wish
whole
name.
nother part.
I wish we had
I'll
Exos when I was there.
Yeah, and seriously, I mean now,
Oh my
yeah,
God,
but DV Sport gave everybody in the pit nightmares for every
yeah,
season that I was there.
I
just
wish.
know that those times when the camera would be crooked or they'd miss a play, never me.
Oh, I'm
It
just
was
saying,
never me.
I wouldn't
still
doubt it.
missing a play is sacrilege. Like I'll lose my
Yeah.
mind on you if we're not doing that. Okay, like because I'm not trying to get yelled at by anybody else. I know how it goes. This is their livelihoods. You know what I mean? We can't be missing plays.
Yeah.
I missed
I mean,
one. I
so
missed one in Kasim's last game. I have to say, I have to come clean on that.
why would you? Nobody was gonna know. Like you could have gotten away with that. All right. The second part of that question would be in film. I know it's a lot of watching defenses too, and scheming for what's going to work the best against a specific school, whatever scheme they're running, what their
Mhm.
coordinators like. But how much would you watch yourself and take into consideration, um, mistakes, what you did well? Like how much did you focus on yourself and your offense, and just really trying to use film and technology to get better,
Mhm.
as the season goes on,
Yeah,
camp, whatever.
I think. Well, especially during camp, and then usually the day after the game or first 2 days of like the next week would be a lot of like reflection on the past game. Um, but yeah, like you look at just looking for the little details, like especially for myself, like okay, if I missed a pass, like looking at my feet, like why did I miss it? Like did I step with my front foot a little bit too wide, or did I not, you know, open my hips enough on the throw? My arm angle come out weird, like just for the minor things to try and clean stuff up. And then, with receivers or um, just trying to make sure we're all on the same page with depth, or why I threw a pass the way I threw it, or what they were thinking, just trying to get on the same page. And then O line, like if we saw a pressure or a blitz that we weren't used to seeing, like, okay, how can we identify this better and make sure we're all on the same page? So like the person that's the free runner or whoever is like where I want them to be, or like so we're all thinking the same. Then yeah, once you clean up all of that, it kind of makes it easier for going into preparing for opponents, because you just like you have a good idea after watching a couple of games what they like to do in totality, and then you're just looking for the intricacies in the game. Or like, okay, when they play this coverage, these people like to line up this way with this stance, or if they bring this blitz, they like to line up this way. And understand the history of defensive coordinators helps a lot too, because then you know like their tendencies over time and what they really want to do, what they might not be able to do with this group, but what they want to get to, especially as the season progresses along. So yeah, it gets a lot going with the film stuff.
I'm sure you could count on Fiore and Kyle to make sure
He's
that
Does
You're
anyone
getting
actually
as
watch
much
the?
film into that
Does
brain as
anyone watch
possible.
the actual indie clips? Like, I gotta know. Does anyone actually watch that? Like, I do it, and I'm like, I don't know if they watch this.
That's the best question that's ever been asked on this show in any episode.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I watched indie clips.
That's
They were
what I'm
just-
saying. I mean, I'll record it. I have no problem. It's a little break for me, but like,
I don't think
Kyle,
I
I
watched
think-
indie clips.
I think our coaches were just trying to give us something to do. I think that's what it came down to.
yeah, they're always coming to the office like, is team run up? They're never like, yo, is inside linebacker indie
Yeah.
up? Like, no, that's never once happened.
Yeah.
Maybe,
No, it's true.
maybe it has. I mean, I don't doubt it, but I feel like I would have heard that before.
I don't think I've watched indie before in any meeting I've been in.
Well, he had to ask.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the moment a few questions ago where I really stood up as the leader of this show and showed integrity by admitting my flaws of missing the clip. And it just made me think about how a quarterback has to be that leader for the team and really put their best foot forward. How did you handle? I can't take this question seriously now. How did you handle being the face of the team and the guy that the rookies would look to as the leader of the team, something that comes with being a quarterback?
Only Fiore can bridge that into a question, man.
It's good. I think, just for me, just trying to be my authentic self. Like, I'm a very put it out there person. Like, I'm gonna speak my mind. But like my intentions are always good, no matter how it may come across. Like, I'm gonna put it out there with how I feel because, it can lead to a conversation or something needs to be fixed in the moment. But it all comes from my like authentic self. And I think that was what I tried to portray to everybody. Like, I remember giving a speech to like the team that my last year, Flem had all the seniors come up and give a speech when we were in camp. And like, I told everybody, like, this is who I am. Like, I'm going to put it all out there on the line, whether it's vocally, physically, whatever it is. Like, that's who I am. That's what you're going to get from me. And like, I just hope that across my time, everybody got to feel that. Like, I'll lay my body on the line. I'll speak up for what I feel needs to be spoken up for. And like, I'm trying to win games. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't care how we do it. Those are the things I care about. I'm trying to win. So I hope that, led to something for people.
It's so important for a football team to have a quarterback that's a leader. You look at situations like the Browns where there's character issues there and the whole
Yeah.
team suffers from it. So that was something I always admired with you. But going back to watching film and analyzing little mistakes and things, how in those like few seconds that you have the ball and you're scanning everything, how do you process things like the direction of your shoulders, your foot spacing at the same time that you're analyzing the defense, what they do, what your receivers are doing? How do you fix those mechanical little flaws and nitpick those while simultaneously reading everything on the field?
It's got to watch
I
Indy.
think I think try to do it like all the physical stuff you try and do so many times that you don't have to think about it, like just getting it into muscle memory, because then like you have so much stuff going on in your brain that you don't want to put something else in there. Um, and then just building out the trust with your receivers. So like you see things so many. Goes back to the question about like having comfortability in offense, like, and it goes for the other positions too. You see things so many times, like you just expect somebody to be somewhere. Like that's how it was with Ed. Like sometimes I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't see Ed, but like I knew where he was gonna be at, so that's where the ball was gonna go. And like then all you have to think about is what is the defense doing. You're thinking about the two things that you're reading about where you're trying to get to in a pass play, and then you can just make a quicker decision from there without having to hold on to the ball and take a hit or do something crazy.
Did you find it easier as you progressed in your career to streamline your thoughts and not think about too many things at once?
Oh yeah, definitely, because me and Murph had a good relationship, and then I was around him so much. Like when he was calling things, by the time we got to my last couple of years, I knew what he was thinking and what he was about, either what he was about to call or what he was thinking when he made a call. And then like you just you know what you're looking for when you get to play because you're either expecting it to be called or you guys are thinking the same thing about what they're playing, and like you just get more comfortable.
That relationship with Murph is probably out the window after you had admitted on air that you don't watch Indy.
He knows. I'll say it to his face.
Yeah, I had a question about more on the RPO lines there. What did you in practice? Did you have to put a priority on your run game and your pass game? Was there a time where you're like, I think I have the running down, let me fixate on my running ability? Did you have to kind of separate those, or did you prepare your game plan all in one package?
I think it all came in one package. Like it all just came off of reactions to, whatever the defense was giving us. And the way that Murph built out the offense for us, it was like all in one. And, whatever decisions two people on the defense made was going to be the decision that I made off of them. And then, you know, good things usually happen from there if I made the right decision.
And as we start to wrap up, I want to ask what you've been doing lately. I saw on Instagram you ran a half marathon, putting the run game to work there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been big into running lately, which I'm sure will be a shock to some of my closest friends because I'm a person that hates running, but starting to find some likability with it. But thinking I'm planning on coming back up to Rhodey, getting to coaching some high school up there, then hopefully get with the Rhodey staff in January. Yeah, we'll see how everything goes, but looking forward to being back up there.
I'm
Hope
going to
to see
shout
you at
out
some
one of
games
our.
this year.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll be there Friday.
Oh, sweet! Yeah, I'll see you then.
Yeah.
I'll be on this. Actually, I'll be in the booth, I think. But yeah, I'm sure I'll see you on the sideline.
Yeah, you'll see me screaming on the sideline.
All right, for sure.
I'm gonna shout out one of all three of our favorite professors, Keith LaBelle. I'm gonna take a question out of his book. Now that college football is behind you, where do you hopefully see yourself in 5 years? Professionally, personally?
Personally, I see myself as somebody bringing smiles to, the people I care about and hopefully everybody around me. That's big. I'm big on, personal happiness and then happiness for the people that I care about. And then professionally, hopefully an offensive coordinator for somebody's team in college. But that's where I see myself.
I think any team would benefit from having you. I think the Rhodey coaching staff, and Kyle can attest to this more, would love to have you around more. You were the face of the team for 3 years, and it was an important 3 years and built a champion. So we want to thank you for your time at URI. We want to thank you for our time here. We learned a lot. We laughed a lot. This was probably the funniest show we've ever had. But it was great having you on. Hopefully I'll see you in the future, and I'm sure Kyle would love to work with you if you do end up over there at Rhodey.
Wow, so I'll see you Friday.
Yeah, see you Friday. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other. Thank you for having me on. It was great. It was great to catch up with everybody.
Of course.
Pleasure to meet you, man. You are an absolute icon in the Kingston area. So really appreciate you taking an hour out of your day to talk to 3 sports nerds.
Oh, no, it was great to talk.
Awesome. Thank you to roadie legend Kasim Hill. That's going to do it for us here on Fiore Calls Game. Signing off. Till next week.